What is this? This is 4.3. 4.3 notes, we had the last 4 questions to go through. And I actually did the last question for you already. And I left you with another question. So hey, is what I wrote for part H the final answer? Okay, so this was what I wrote, right? Did you all leave this as the final answer? Or do you do something else to it? Is there anything that could be done to it? Okay, so let's take a look. This was what we had. So we couldn't factorize the numerator any further. Since it cannot be factorized, we could not cancel anymore. However, I noticed that hey, we had negative signs for every single term in the numerator. Please don't be confused. This is the correct final answer. But like we said, simplify. There may be more than one answer. Okay. So if you want to factorize out the negative sign, yeah, you can do that. So negative 2m squared plus 4m plus 9. Then in the denominator, instead of leaving it as 3 minus 2m, how about I put it as 2m minus 3? You see that? Then in that case, I can actually cancel away the negative one that is factorized out. Okay, so this is an alternative solution. In my opinion, I think this is neater lah. The one in purple, in pink. Of course, you do not need the brackets for the numerator after you have removed that negative sign. Okay, but whatever is in black over here, yeah, this is also perfectly fine. Can? So let's go on to the other 3 questions that were assigned to you as your homework. So let's start with this. Okay, part E, we have 3 over a quadratic expression. So same thing in your quadratic, always check whether you can factorize. So turns out you can. You can factorize it to become x minus 5 squared. This is our case of a squared minus 2 times of ab, where a is just your x and b is your value of 5, to give us x minus 5 squared. That's our denominator. And the other denominator, a, is very similar. It is just x minus 5 instead of x minus 5 squared. So all we need to do is to multiply the second denominator with another x minus 5. So numerator, another x minus 5. Once the denominators are the same, we can combine. Notice that this is consistent with what the teachers are telling you. This is done by another teacher. The teacher also did not expand yet. We combine first, then we expand so that we don't make a careless mistake for this particular sign. Okay, so once you expand it out, you get a final answer. Negative 8x plus 43 over x minus 5 squared. Okay, so that's for part E. Then moving on to part F. Very similar question in the denominator for the second one. This is a case of a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, where our a has a value of x and our b has a value of 5. So this is combined to give us a plus b squared. And we notice that we already have the same a plus b over here. So all we need to do is to multiply this denominator with the same, or rather we square it, or we can say we multiply by x plus 5. Then in the numerator, x plus 5 again. So do your simplification and your final answer will be 4x plus 23 over x plus 5 squared. Any questions? Okay, then the final question for this paper, for this set of notes, 1 minus 2 over 3 minus 2y. Same thing. This number, we have to change to a fraction. Same denominator. So the 1 becomes 3 minus 2y over 3 minus 2y. And since the denominators are not the same, we have the numerator 3 minus 2y, then minus another 2. And we simplify to become 1 minus 2y over 3 minus 2y. Yes. Why? Google Classroom. Yes. Okay, go take what you need to take. In terms of x and y. So we identify where is c, where is c. Okay, it's found in the denominator over here. So I want to eventually write it such that c equals to something. It might be very complicated. The skills that are required over here, they were already taught to you in Sec 1. Making something the subject. The whole idea is, whatever you do on one side of the equal sign, you must do on the other side of the equal sign, so that they remain the same. Okay. So how do we go about doing that? Well, c belongs in the denominator, which is part of a fraction, which is added to a 2x. And all these equal to y. So I want to remove everything, leaving me only with the c. So the first thing that I can remove will be the 2x. Let us remove the 2x first. We subtract 2x on both sides. Not only that, I'm going to switch the positions. Okay, so it's going to be y minus 2x equals to 5 over 3 minus c. But I want to put the 5 over 3 minus c on the left hand side. So I'm going to combine one step. 5 over 3 minus c equals to y minus 2x. So that is my first step. Okay, now next, I want to extract out the 3 minus c. I have a fraction equal to a linear. So the next thing that we should be doing is put this as over 1. So now we have fraction equal to fraction because we want to get rid of the fractions as far as possible so that we can manipulate. Now once we do this over 1, we can draw an arrow because we have a case of fraction equal to fraction. So when you do that multiplication, you are going to get 3 minus c multiplied by y minus 2x. And this is equal to 5. So keep in mind, I only want the c term. I don't want the y minus 2x. So I'll need to remove it by dividing by y minus 2x. Leaving me with just 3 minus c equals to 5 over y minus 2x. And now you see that my c is slowly becoming more and more lonely. That's what I want. I want to get rid of the 3 over there. I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. So negative c equals to 5 over y minus 2x minus 3. And since I only want positive c, I'm going to multiply by negative 1 throughout, leaving me with 3 minus 5 over y minus 2x.
Thank you.
Okay, and this is the answer. Are there any other answers that are accepted? Yeah, sure. If you want to combine the 3 minus 5 over y minus 2x into one single fraction, you can. But this already meets the requirement. They just wanted you to make c the subject. There's actually no reason for you. There's no need for you to combine. And then you risk more careless mistakes. Okay, so once you made it the subject, good enough. And this is a simplified form. Okay, next. The other questions were also already done. So let's see what's left. Example number 11. Okay, take a look at example number 11 now. Okay, so given ax minus by is 3 minus 2x. So express x in terms of a, b, and y. I want to have an expression that says x equals to something. Now at the moment I see x appearing on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side. I cannot have it appearing 2 times. Otherwise, I cannot make x the subject. Because at the end of the day, I only want x equals to something. So what we need to do is to group them together. Okay, put all the x on one side. And how do we do that? We can choose to add 2x on both sides. So on the left hand side, we have ax minus by plus 2x. And this is equal to 3. And then notice that the x on the right hand side has disappeared. Your minus 2x is now a positive 2x on the left hand side. Okay, then we do not want that negative by. And we get rid of it by adding by on both sides. So ax plus 2x equals to 3 plus by. Okay, now we are getting closer. I only want x on the left hand side. But currently I've got ax plus 2x. I see x being written 2 times. I only want it to be written 1 time. So what can we do? And this is a very important step. That is to factorize. Factorize. X is common. A plus 2. And now you see that you only wrote x 1 time. Okay, so very important step over here. And the right hand side we have 3 plus by. In order to make x the subject, we need to divide by a plus 2 on both sides, leaving us with x equals to 3 plus by over a plus 2. Done. Okay, and now b. Find the value of x when a goes to 5, b goes to 1, and y goes to 6. So just do a substitution. X equals to 3 plus b equals to 1, y equals to 6, a equals to 5 plus 2. So the answer will be 9 over 7. Okay, any questions? Take note of this star over here in case you are faced with a situation you see x appearing 2 times, but you know you only need it 1 time. So the trick is, not the trick, the way to do it is to factorize. Okay, next, you see b on top, b at the bottom. And we have a fraction equals to a. Make b the subject. B appears 2 times again. Okay, so what does the instinct say? What do you think we should be doing for the first step? With a equals to 1 plus b over 1 minus b. What can we do first? Fraction equals to something. Always want to make fraction equal to fraction. Yeah, over 1. Okay, so put it over 1. We want to get rid of the fraction all the time. And now we have a times of 1 minus b equals to 1 plus b. We see b appearing 2 times. Okay, on the left hand side we have to expand first. On the left hand side we've got a minus ab. This is equal to 1 plus b. Put all the b's together on one side. I would choose to add ab on both sides because I would rather work with positive numbers. Whereas if you choose to subtract b on both sides, then you end up with a minus ab minus b. Okay, so I choose to add ab to both sides. And at the same time, I subtract 1 on both sides. So this gives me ab plus b. So there are 2 steps over here. And the same star. What do you think you should do? I only want b to be written 1 time. What should we do on the right hand side? Okay, do it yourself first. What is on the left hand side? What is on the right hand side? Okay, should be done by now. So on the left hand side, no change, a minus 1. The right hand side, b times of a plus 1. And then you have the final answer already. B, which is what they want, as the subject, b will be a minus 1 over a plus 1. Finish. Making b the subject. Okay, then the next page. Example number 13. A equals to half a plus b times h. Does this look familiar to you? Look familiar? What is this the area of? Yeah, area of trapezium, right? Where a and b are the parallel length, and h is the perpendicular height. So this is the area of a trapezium. Express h in terms of a, capital A, small a, and b. Please try this now. It is equivalent to A over A plus B, and this is all divided by half. Now when you do a division by half, it is as good as multiplying by 2. It's the same. So your final answer would be 2A over A plus B. And then for part 2, simple substitution, find the value of H. We already have the value of H. We already have the H as the subject. So we need to do a simple substitution. 2 times of A is 10, then A plus B, 2 plus 3. So 4, H is 4. Okay, I just want to draw your attention to English. Now, notice that in part 2, they did not say hence. They didn't say hence, which means that you did not need to use the answer from part 1. Now, if you don't use the answer from part 1, suppose you don't trust your own working. You feel that, wow, my part 1 making something a subject very shaky. And then in part 2, they say find the value of H, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can substitute 10 over here. You can substitute 2. You can substitute 3. Do the calculation and find the value of H. You can do that. However, if in part 2, they say hence. If they say hence, then you have no choice. You will need to use the substitution. You need to do the substitution in part 1. Okay? Hence or therefore. No choice. You have to use the answer. But you know how to check whether it's right or wrong. Okay, so now let's do example number 14. Make Y the subject. Give a clue again. I see Y appearing twice. Please try this now. V is found over here. I express it in terms of U and F. So let's get rid of the 3 over U. We do that by subtracting. So we have 2 over V equals to 5 over F minus 3 over U. I want to make V the subject. Okay? So, can all of you just look up first? Don't write anything because I'm going to write something that is definitely wrong. I want to make V the subject, but V is in my denominator. How about if I just switch them around? V over 2, then F over 5, minus U over 3. Do you think it will work? All I did is to flip everything. Okay, if you're not sure, go and try it out. But I tell you first, if you are prone to making this mistake, please know that this is not correct. You can't just flip everything, because you have to combine them first. Okay, so the correct approach for this is to combine the right hand side, 5U minus 3F over UF. Okay, this is 2 over V. Very unfortunate that they choose F and U and V and... Okay, so we want to make V the subject. Now can we flip both of them? Can I say that V over 2 equals to UF over 5U minus 3F? Can we say that? What do you think? Can or cannot? Why cannot? How about if we don't do this right, then how else can we make V disappear from the denominator? How can we make V disappear? We have our usual fraction equal to fraction. We could have done this. Okay, so let's continue to do that. We know that this is definitely correct. So V times of 5U minus 3F. This is equal to 2 times of UF. And then since we want V as the subject, V will be 2UF over 5U minus 3F. Okay, we have done part 1 already. So in part 2, do the substitution by yourself. This is also your homework for part 2. By the way, just now when I said, here, I'll give you an example. A over B equals to 5 over 3, for example. If A over B is equal to 5 over 3, can you tell me what's B over A? Is it 3 over 5? Okay, so this is something for you to think about, okay? This relationship. Can I just flip both the numerator and denominator?
Wait, you got C?
Then?
The ratio,
Yeah lah, so you should know the answer already. Then why some of you just now were shaking your head? Telling me that cannot. You should know that this is possible and this is correct. But when it is a case of, when it looks like this, right hand side is two separate fractions, then you cannot just flip. Whereas if it is just one fraction equal to one fraction, you can flip because they're the same. This one, page 7 was already done. Page 8, page 9. Okay, page 9. Interest. We did percentages last year. When you borrow money from the bank expects you to pay them back interest. They don't loan you money for free. Just like a credit card, you borrow from Loan Shark, you should never do. You borrow from Loan Shark, they will charge you very high interest. You borrow 1,000 today, tomorrow you don't pay back $1,000. You may end up having to pay $1,500 tomorrow. That extra $500 will be the interest. So in a similar way, banks also charge us interest. There are a few types of interest. We are going to introduce you to simple interest, as the name suggests. Very simple, not complicated. Simple interest. So if they say that the interest is 10% per annum. Now this word over here, per annum, means per year. Okay, please write it down. Per annum means per year. 10% interest per year. The more you borrow, the more interest you have to pay, because it is 10% of whatever you borrow. So for the $2,000 that Ryan is borrowing, he needs to pay an interest of 10% of the principal. The principal is the amount that he borrowed. So he needs to pay extra $200 after 1 year. Extra. Now if he doesn't pay back the original $2,000 after 1 year, then he needs to pay another 10% in the second year. 10% of what? 10% of the amount that he borrowed. So in the second year, he needs to pay another $200 extra. Now what if he takes 5 years to return? So the interest, this is our principal, and this is our interest rate, and this is the number of years that he is borrowing the money for. For 5 years, at 10% of $2,000, keeping in mind $200 per year, 5 years will be $1,000. He needs to pay extra $1,000 if he holds on to the money for 5 years. How much did he borrow? He borrowed $2,000. He borrowed $2,000, he needs to pay back extra $1,000 for that 5 years that he borrowed for. That's a very bad deal. Okay? But that is the scenario. So the total amount that he has to pay will be $3,000. Okay? So this is the situation. So the formula, there is a formula, and it is actually shown over here. It is related to this. Okay, so let me just write it down. I will be the simple interest. I for interest equals to the P, principal, P-R-I-N-C-I-P-A-L, P times, okay, so principal times the interest rate. This interest rate was 10% in the example. So we have R as the interest rate. Then we have to multiply this by the duration, T number of years. Notice that I wrote everything higher because this is all going to be divided by, what do you think is divided by? P, P, R, R, T, T. Is there anything that is highlighted that is different? Is the yellow and yellow the same? Is the purple and purple the same? Is the green and green the same? Look closely. Green and green, are they the same? Not the same, right? There was a percentage symbol. So percentage is the same as dividing by 100. And now this is our complete formula. Okay, with this, you can do the rest of the notes already, making whatever the subject. Okay, so please complete the notes. No need for this exercise 4.4 yet. Okay, complete the notes by the next lesson.